Since talking a little yesterday, I've wanted to try and move on from the listlessness I've felt since coming to Yamaka. Damn it. It always happens. But even if I try to concentrate on the book in front of me, Hanako's empty seat at the back of the classroom looms longer than life. Every time I start getting focused, my eyes flick over to the desk again and my mind starts spinning. Oh hey, it's her again. Once more my eyes drift over to it, but this time my vision is blocked by a certain other classmate. Oh hi, Mikey. Damn. Maybe you should just have lunch. I hear your stomach growling from my desk. I let my head drop in disappointment. She seems to take some amusement from my reaction and hops up onto my desk. Her grin as she sits on it reminds me of the Cheshire Cat. So what you working on? Some math. I have a decent handle on it and I just wanted to revise. Oh really? Let me see that. Before I can object, she grabs me there. She scans the page I was on, holding it open with the one hand she has, her left arm sitting uselessly on her lap. In my time in Yamako, I've noticed that the other students have a wide range of adjustments to their disabilities on a purely practical scale. Miki is one of those that seems to have some trouble. The stump of her left hand tends to be either hanging by her side, slipping into a pocket, or otherwise put out of the way. Sometimes she has a difficult time doing common tasks, which makes her visibly quite frustrated. I feel a little bad for thinking this way, but I'm thankful that Hanako and I don't have disabilities affecting our freedom of movement to that extent. Then again, if Miki's problem worsens, at least she wouldn't have a real possibility of dying. My attention is refocused as she thumbs through a few pages, skimming their contents with such casual interest in the subject matter. It's clear by now that she won't be any help. I'm guessing you're not too interested in this stuff. Screw math, it's boring as hell. She puts the book down in front of me with indifference, her eyes moving to the notebook inside it that I had been working out practice equations on. Wait, you're actually able to work that stuff out? Yeah. Wow, I've never talked to a computer with legs before. Thanks, I think. At least I'm doing better in this than history. Think it's worth asking the librarian for help? I heard she's shooting for uni. You go. Maybe I don't know what she wants to study, though. So what about you? Got anything you're thinking of doing after you graduate? Me? Nah, not really. Just enjoying it while it lasts. She looks a little awkward when asked about her future and absent-mindedly rubs her left arm. Damn it. I kind of want to ask her about it, and I don't think I know her well enough to do so. The conversation putters out and I lean back into my chair, giving up on the prospect of studying. Miki notices my tired expression and looks oddly serious. Thinking about Hanako? It's that obvious. You've been glancing at her seat and you've been pretty quiet. Not too hard to connect the dots. I'm just worried about her. Yeah, I can see why you would be. She can get weird sometimes. She sounds put off, but I can't blame her. Hanako was a hard person to interact with before she warmed up to me, even with Lily around to help. I haven't known her for that long either, so some of her habits would still be unknown to me. My face becomes troubled. If I haven't developed feelings for her, this would be at least a little easier to deal with. I mean no offense, she isn't a bad person, I know that much. I know, I didn't take it that way. It's just hard to deal with when, well, you know, you have feelings for someone. Yeah, I can imagine that. It's hard to forget something like what happened to her during class 2. I wish she hadn't reminded me of that. She just confirmed that it was clearly noticeable by others in the classroom as well. Come on, don't get that down. She's done this before. You've just gotta wait it out. She locks herself in her room and acts like an empty husk of a person for a sizable amount of time ever since she entered Yamako. If not before, then as well. I'm not supposed to be concerned about that. Well, I might think about that. Well, I might think about that, but there's nothing that I can do. I can't force her to come out, and she does see a therapist, so it's not like she isn't getting any help for her issues. Maybe it's natural to think that way when you're so powerless to help someone. That's just the way she is, and you have to deal with it. As I mull things over, I notice a movement out of the corner of my eye. I glance to see who it is and end up doing a double take. Sure enough, it's Hanako. She walks through the door just as she would any normal school day and begins to move towards her seat in the usual silent and humble manner. She looks at me for a moment before blushing and looking away in embarrassment, which makes me realize that I was staring at her. I feel sorry for that, but not doing so it as hard after all that's happened. The girl sitting on my desk looks to me grinning. See, your sweetheart's back already. What did I tell you? You be quiet. It might only be meant as a joke, but she hit close enough to make me quite uncomfortable. As we talk, someone calls Mickey's name from the door. She jumps up from her vantage point on my desk before turning to me. Gotta go, Hisao. Remember to eat something, will ya? Fine, I will. See ya. She gives a casual salute before jogging over to the door, where a male student in a gym uniform is waiting for her, probably someone from the track and field club. Seizing the opportunity, I get up and make my way to Hanako's desk. Hello. Hi, Hanako, what's up? Nothing. Maybe talking to her this soon after she came back to class would be a bad move. Want to come with me and grab something from the cafeteria? I'm pretty hungry. But I thought you were studying. Studying can wait. Turning up for class after all this time has taken some courage for Hanako, so the least I can do is stay with her. That's just the way she is, and you have to deal with it. Is the way Miki and probably the whole class as well views Hanako. I can do more for her, though I want to do more for her. After being distracted by Miki, I don't think I'm going to get any work done. Come on, let's go. She hesitates, but eventually gets up and joins me as we begin walking, though these may be small steps for her, but the fact that she's finally out of her room, for her volition, lifts a large weight off my shoulders. Yay, passage of time yet again. Quick drink. My pen busily scrolls onto the slowly filling page of my notebook. My other hand remains on the page of the reference book I borrowed from the library, making my spots as my eyes flicker to and fro. Marking. As I work, I occasionally mark red circles or underline onto the photocopied sheets of paper that I lie on the table in front of me. Wanting to change the scenery from the library to avoid the distinction of classroom, I decide to make use of the Shanghai for some quiet studying. It ended up being nice and quiet as expected, and being able to get coffee while I study is a nice bonus. Hanako may have returned to her normal self since she came out of her room, but I've done quite the opposite. Daily routine may have returned to us, but I feel as if I'm a different person. Maybe I'm not. It's only been a few days, after all, since I decided to want to try and get out of the rut I found myself in after my class. But I want to change, and now I'm actively working towards that goal. Or at least I would like to think I am. Brute force, this isn't going to work. What's more, I have another piece of writing I have to do after this. I fear that I'm going to be noisy. I lack a middle of surprise to the source of the tentative voice. Yuko stands in the head of the table as a damp towel in her hand, clearly having taken the opportunity to clean the tables with no other patrons around. She looks curious, cautious, her eyes as much on my work as me. What's the matter? I was just wondering, what sort of work are you having so much trouble with? Oh, it's just history. I'm fine with science and math, so I'm trying to get my other subjects up to par. Yuko looks positively delighted at the development. I feel like I just chose the right answer on some big quiz show. Oh, I think I might help you with that. If you don't mind, of course. I briefly considered turning down the offer in order to not cause her too much trouble, but she looks too excited about this for me to do it. It would be mean to shoot her down like that after such a reaction. If you're willing to help, I'd really appreciate it. She claps her hands together and quickly deposits her towel on the counter before returning and taking a seat across from me. I take my notebook off the top of the textbook and I hand it over to her in peruse. So you're studying the Edo period. Yeah, I'm not really much good at this though. She takes the notebook and reads a few pages from the random section near the middle of a bit, but the aura of enthusiasm she'd been radiating previously is rapidly sapping away. I'm guessing this isn't the kind of history you are expecting. Fortunately not. My main area is the European history, especially in the classical era. She looks a bit downcast as she carefully closes the book and lays it back on the table. She faces perks up again. Would you like another cup of coffee? Sure. Yeah, sure. I reach forward and get my book back as Yuko gets up, taking my mug and slowly walking to the counter to make another brew. As usual, she's absolutely silent as she does this. Every ounce of her concentration is focused on not tipping over or dropping the plain white mug. I take the opportunity to lay back and relax for a bit, and the hum of coffee machine filling the otherwise quiet area. It's small details like that which make me realize how much I've come to appreciate the little things in life. The peace and quiet of the local town, the discipline and order, the green of the trees that are so rare in my home city, the relaxed pace at which the aging residents live their lives. I may not be able to go do this as long as I wanted to. Everything feels so certain. It's comforting. I can feel myself beginning to nod off when the sound of the mug coming to rest on the table grabs my attention. Seems like it arrived not a moment too soon. Yuko takes her previous seat once again as I pick myself up and bring a hand around the mug to check its temperature. It's just a little too hot to drink right now, so I blow it on a little. It's a shame you don't like history all that much. I sort of guessed that you might be more into science. How so? You've nearly read out the science fiction section of the library already. Wasn't hard to notice. You do have a good point there. Well, what can I say? You pegged me just about right. You sound like you are really taking an interest in history, though, especially considering how specific you were about it. Do you study in that area or something? Go on digs overseas? She giggles nervously at the thought. I'd like to visit the Mediterranean sometimes and see the old architecture and art for myself, but I don't think I could trust myself to handle such delicate things. I'm saving up for formally studying at a university, although I also read up on it whenever I have free time outside of work. So Mickey was right about her university aspirations, considering how she fares as she writes. A more theoretical path may suit Yuko better. It's nice to hear that she has some ambitions, though, considering how hard she works. I nod and take a careful sip of my coffee, but now it's cooled to the right temperature. I begin to drink while keeping an eye on the book below, trying to read it at the same time. A few minutes pass quietly, Yuko looking out the window and watching the world go by while I have my coffee and study. A moment catches my eye and I look up to see Yuko smiling and waving to someone outside. Following my gaze, it surprisingly reveals that someone to be Hanako. She is looking at us from the side of the street, crossing from where we are. Her usual all too visible timidly is largely absent, probably thanks to there being so few people around right now. Eventually she decides to join us. After a few little waves, she gives a quick glance up and down the street and crosses towards the side that the cafe is on. The familiar doorbell to the Shanghai rings out as Hanako enters and makes her way to the table we're sitting at. Hello. Good afternoon. Hi Hanako, what's up? Nothing, just going for a walk since the weather was nice. Yeah, I get what you mean. I'm glad I decided to study here instead of the library. It's comfortable in here, thanks to that, better than the sometimes quite stuffy library. I look to Yuko, who nods in response. It's nice, just a shame that summer can't last forever. Oh wait, sorry, would you like a drink? Hanako shakes her head. Thankfully it's enough to calm Yuko back down. How are you going with studying? Okay-ish. Oh yeah, have you talked to Lily? I'm interested too. How is she doing? She's enjoying it, I think. I think that's all we're doing to get out of her. Being around Yuko is tensing her up. It would be so nice to travel to Scotland. Green fields, castles, lovely small towns, men in kilts, interesting history. I can't say I see the appeal of men in kilts myself. It does seem like a picturesque place, though. As we talk, the jingle of the doorbell rings again. Hanako is startled, noticing Yuko's panicked expression at the prospect she might leave customers to wait a handful of seconds due to her chattering with us. Yuko gives us a quick bow, then hastily skittles over and greets the new customers, an elderly man and his wife. I catch her for a bit, canning my head around to get a good view. Hanako is staring at me with her one visible eye. She averts her head in an embarrassing as I turn to make eye contact. I was just thinking that it's nice to have ambitions of the future. Yuko was telling me a little about her university aspirations before. Oh? It's a shame if she wasn't so neurotic and overworked. I think she would be a really happy person. As much as I'd like to play host to Hanako and entertain her a bit, I do need to study as well. To be honest, I don't think the distraction from Yuko helped either. Sorry if I'm a bit distracted, I need to try and get this done, otherwise I'm going to flunk the history exam pretty hard. I'm left running my hand through my hair in frustration. That letter needs doing as well since I got back to my dormitory room. Once I get back. I hoped I have more luck with that than this time. With what? Oh, I was going to write to Yuanako right now, though this is more important. All I've done is rattle myself, so I can't focus on the work in front of me when my stomach is slowly turning out the prospect of actually attempting to write back to her after all this. I force myself to concentrate on the book, picking up my pen once I have a quick sip of my coffee. After a few seconds, Hanako stops silently watching me and leans back into her seat, relaxing as much as she ever seems to be able to, looking at the window and passing the time. We stay like this for long before leaving to the dormitories together. I'm surprised she had the patience to wait me out. Iwanako's letter lies on my desk, beside the blank sheet of lined paper and an unused envelope. The tapping of my pen is the only thing to be heard this late at night. As I feared, my second task for the day turns out to be just as difficult as the first, if not harder. It's been so many months since we've even saw each other. Even so, I can't still remember what she looked like, what she sounded like, and what she acted like. By now, though, the little details are beginning to slip away. When I first saw her letter, I barely recognized her handwriting at all. Even the pink pen she always used it was forgotten until writing reminded me of it. Yeah, will you stop pushing stuff, you stupid cat? I wonder why she didn't use it for the letter when she used to write everything with it. Maybe she thinks it's too immature now. I should be thinking about myself and about what I want to communicate to her. My mind can't stop concentrating on her, though on the past we shared before it was taken away so suddenly. The bright and slightish grash of decoration suits her sense of it. Picking up the letter to take a closer look at it, I give a long sigh. This is the last link binding me to the past. Hanako didn't suddenly cease to exist when she left my hospital room for the last time, but I needed this letter to remind me of that. I had all those feelings neatly filed away, as I felt as if I didn't need them, that I could just begin my life completely anew. It was easier that way. In the end, I suppose this was the rather naive thing to do. Sooner or later, my past would have caught up with me, one way or the other. But what am I supposed to say to her? Thank you for being my closure. All the letter did was end the sense of closure I had previously felt. Try as I might, I can't write so much as a single word down on the paper in front of me. I can't even think of what exactly I want to say. Oops. Putting the letter down on the top of the blank sheet, I gathered the materials together and filed them away in my drawer.